Good evening, folks. This is Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project on Monday, December 4th, 11:40 p.m. Mountain Time, 2017. Bringing you a grand solar minimum update. You're looking at the seismic map. Quakes of note, not many, except a large frac quake in Oklahoma at 4.2, followed by a aftershock of 2.8. That's an aftershock to a frac quake. Totally disgusting. So there's a heads up there. Let's move on with the update. Moderate seismic uptick of note here, a 4.3 at Atka, Alaska. That's a volcano. That could be waking up. If we come over to space weather, this coronal hole has arrived. And here we have the grand solar minimum sun in A range. And when these coronal holes come, they come. And they affect us. And we're in geomagnetic storm. I would expect that maybe to get up to 5 or 6 based on what I'm looking at here. And we are in electron storm as well. It could hold at 4, but thank goodness we're back out of 0. We will be dropping back down though shortly. That's a heads up. Instant winter near record mild temps to blizzards. Boom! And I mean it. December 4th is a day when winter of 2017-18 finally comes to Minnesota. Guys, it's barely going to be snowing, but the winds are going to be horrendous. 50-mile-per-hour blizzard conditions coming to Minnesota. And let's just go over to the U.S. map here. This is for... A storm will bring snow to the central northern Rockies from Sunday through Monday evening. The deepest of 6 to 12 will be Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, happening now, and northern Utah. This is for the 3rd and the 4th. In the wake of the storm moving through the west, temperatures will stay chilly. And then that's a heads up to the East Coast. We're going to moderate out here in the west, but you guys are going to plummet, especially in the Midwest on the 4th through the 8th. And then, heads up, snow in the Northeast. That's the forecast. By the 6th, the 5th through the 10th, heads up. Looking for snow on the East Coast all the way down to New Jersey and all the Great Lakes. And that cold air is going to then descend upon the Great Lakes, 10th to the 15th. So winter is here 2 weeks early in a big way, in a record way. It's going to be a cold night in California and Nevada with frost and freeze warnings from Bakersfield through Sacramento and San Fran, Redding, Ely and southern Nevada, all the way through Vegas. Frost and freeze warnings. There's hard freeze and frost. You're going to get links to all this, so don't worry. Intensifying winter storms to hit Rockies, Northern Plains, and Upper Midwest. This is coming from the Watchers. Going over what we just talked about. 2 devastating storms and an Arctic blast to cause lengthy big freeze and plummeting temperatures in Kent. Experts are warning a big freeze is on its way as the country is hit by an Arctic blast, as Met Office has said strong winds, rain will begin to brew in Kent in the week ahead. So guys, this is the prophecy of the UK's coldest winter in decades. Arctic storms to hit Scotland next week as country prepares for big freeze and more snow. Look at how concerned this guy is. You should be concerned as well. Summer snow, heavy rain after record-breaking heat wave hits Tasmania. This is everywhere. It's not a desert there, guys. It's a winter wonderland in summer. Just several days after record-breaking spring heat wave, Tasmania received much-needed rain and up to 40 centimeters of summer snow. Holla, summer snow. Boom! That's a big one right there. So heads up, UK, Scotland, Tasmania, snow in summer. Strongest and longest Santa Ana winds. Let's talk about it. The fires will light and there will be burning things. Extreme fire danger expected in LA area this week, as well as here below snow line. All over this area, we are in a super drought. It snows up high, but nothing gets down here. So there will be fires lighting up across the country. These winds Man, the winds ripped the Tyvek right off the building. Maldives damaged to 60 islands after extreme weather. And you come down here, it says 62 islands and property were damaged in the Maldives. Exceptional rainfalls last week in many regions. Guys, we're about to have a breakthrough on some information here. Now, these records go back to 1950, 1947. And let's read this. Hobart, after having its warmest November in 135 years, December since 1964. So we're going way back to historical times before records were kept. These are new things happening in epic ways. Cyclone Oki, Mumbai records highest December rainfall in a decade. Let's do this later. The effects of Oki closing in on near Mumbai only saw temperatures taking a dip, but the highest rainfall in the month of December ever. They're wet in India, and it's only going to continue to happen. Now, this is the article we're going to spend some time on, and it has nothing to do with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project. But what a synchronicity here, because there's so much information in this article, we really need to spend some time on it. How climate change is costing you in the vegetable aisle. Now, Oppenheimer is a food commodities broker, global, and they call it OPI. Founded in 1858, the Oppenheimer Group is one of North America's largest importers of fresh fruits and vegetables, operating in 27 countries. Many know it by its nickname, OPI. John Anderson joined the company 43 years ago, working his way up from warehouse staffer to president and CEO. Now, this guy has seen every harvest. He knows more about harvesting and farming globally than any other human on the planet. He is the #1 expert on what is happening with the climate and farming. Just based on what we just read, it's a no-brainer. The position has given him unique insight into weather, climate shifts, and extreme events that affect the supply of food in locations through North, Central, and South America. While Anderson doesn't pretend to be a climatologist, his recent experience with extreme weather suggests things are getting worse. He spoke recently with Maclean's writer, Michael Friscolanti. You guys, buckle your seatbelts, because you know what we're about to do? We're about to do some science. Boom! How is climate change affecting your business? I wouldn't go out and call it global warming. I would call it climate change. We've seen a lot of shifts in weather, and I have to be honest with you, most of the events we see are not warmer, but colder weather and rainier weather in areas where you normally don't get that. I would say we're seeing more events that are impacting our crops around the world than what we've seen in the past. Question: colder temperatures and rainier weather may not be what many people assume when they think of climate change. And you know why that is, guys? It's because the world is being brainwashed. Because we're in so many countries and have so many products, we will see a climate event here and there. But over the last year, I think we saw one everywhere, and mostly to do with either hail or rain or cold. We saw the odd one where it was drier than normal or warmer than normal, and the crops came earlier. That happened in Chile, for example, and then Peru turned around and got really rainy and cold. We had those extremes. Can you provide some specific examples? What type of weather events did you deal with this year? In British Columbia, for example, where in greenhouses, business in a big way, it was pretty wet and cold there last year, and we had lots of snow. So therefore, it pushed off the starts of some of our greenhouse crops by about 3 to 4 weeks. So that affects your ability to take care of our customers in the marketplace. And during the winter time, we would get products out of Mexico. And Mexico had cold and wet weather as well. We ended up with 20 to 25% less crop yield than we're able to harvest to sell to customers. Guys, if you continue to read this, it goes on and on and on about cold and crop loss and how volatile it is now. I would see weather events in the past. In those 20-odd countries, I might see 3 or 4 weather events in a year. This year, we saw it in every country. We see weather events in much more locations, more frequently than we did. Climate is going to have an impact on us that we're not exactly sure of at this point. I think as one area closes up, another will open up. If it's actually global warming, you'll actually see more areas under which you can grow product. However, if it's global cooling we're looking at, and that's where all things are pointing, there will be less areas to be able to grow product in. So that will have an opposite impact. The cost of labor is also going to have a major impact on our ability to feed people in the future. The cost of labor is going up through the roof. And the markets are not going to give returns at this point in time to replace that. Guys, it's a heads up, and this is coming from a leader in the industry, that it is global cooling, rain, hail, and cooling. I'll leave you links. And a new model reveals the origins of sun seasons. This study is pointing out that even during the 11-year solar cycle, there are 6 to 18-month seasons where geomagnetic activity peaks and wanes. This is interesting information that's just coming out, and this is specific context to what we're studying and what we're looking at. I'll leave you links to this article. It would take a whole video to cover. Now, just for fun, because we're always covering science, right? Boom! Science. We love you, Neil. No, we don't. Back to the study. Climate change might lower salaries. Well, that's a no-brainer. It's a scam because your entire wealth is being extracted from you through the empire model because you are a slave. Boom. And that's science. Guys, I hope you got something out of the video. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, do so now. And we'll go out on Neil. Boom.